broadcasting live from the Roanoke Valley of southwestern Virginia. Join us and see what life looks like from a medium's perspective with Reverend Tracey Lockwood, the medium's medium. We'll explore the tools of psychic development, hear stories and experiences from the other side, and learn to listen to our natural intuition. Now, our host, Reverend Tracey Lockwood.
Hello, beautiful lights, and welcome to another episode of From a Medium's Perspective. Before we get too deep into today's juicy show, I'd like to mention that I have different certification programs available for professional level psychic mediumship, and I'm going to be introducing some introductory, intermediate, and advanced psychic and mediumship options soon. So stay tuned. You can look for details on my website at mediumtracylockwood.com, and you can find more information also on the YouTube channel, because for shizzle, I'm going to put a promo on the YouTube channel when I get the details of when I'm going to start teaching that and all that together. It should be something that I can announce very shortly, and I'm really excited about it. Our psychic mediumship certification program is underway, and one of the comments of one of the students is like, wow, this is like better than Disneyland. So I guess it's going well, and they're making mad progress, just wonderful progress in just a very short time. It's an immersion program. I'm going to be teaching that in February and mid-August. It's a 14-week program each year in addition to these others coming up. So I know you're like, but who is it? Who is it that's on the show today? You've actually met her before. Her name is Gaylen Chauncey. She is a paranormal investigator and UFO specialist. She is quite the serious person in that field. Fun, of course, but takes her evidence very seriously. And it's wonderful for us that work in the field of mediumship to have paranormal investigators able to confirm our impressions that we get. In a way, a medium is like a machine that picks up the vibrational energies of people. They use both intuition and tools to register evidence that spirit is there. She is really creative. She also writes ghost stories. I know some of you like to check out our guests while they are talking with me. And so her website is afterlifegoeson.com. afterlifegoeson.com, and her YouTube channel, you can find it Afterlife Goes On too. Find some really interesting things. So I'd like to welcome back to the show experienced paranormal investigator Gaylen Chauncey. Welcome back to the show, Gaylen.
Oh, thank you, Tracey. It's very exciting.
Well, I wanted to challenge you because you are so intuitive and you've had so many encounters and different experiences that, because I define a medium as someone who's the discerner of spirits, I wondered why you don't classify yourself as a medium in general. Not that I love that term, but anyway.
I learned a long time ago that I am a paranormal investigator, but I help people that might be encountering the darker side of the paranormal. That really is my specialty, and I tuned in that ability to specifically help in that area. Does that make sense? So
so that they're
mediumship.
Yeah, so you're specializing in people that are experiencing hauntings or torment or some of the things that the darker, lower vibrational energies can do. Yes?
Exactly. And so I had in tune my ability to help them better. And so reading energy from spirits is the best way to do it. So that's why I focused it on that ability rather than trying to go into anything that had to do with medium, with communications.
Yeah, so you're more interesting in helping. Like, I'm interested in helping as a medium. I do house clearings, and I do, talk to people about issues with possession and different things. Not too many, but, more communication with people that have crossed, or life issues that they're having, relationships, money, finances, their gifts, past lives, that kind of level of thing. And it's not an easy path that you've chosen.
No.
Working with the shadowy things, because a lot of us just want to turn away from them.
Yes.
Yeah, and they are a very real part of life. There is definitely a balance between dark and light, and that doesn't mean that you're a dark-natured soul by any means.
No.
Brilliant light, and very loving, very intuitive, and very compassionate. How do you think being a paranormal investigator has, since this is from a medium's perspective show, how do you think from a paranormal investigator's perspective that your life, how do you see life differently? How has it changed your perspective of things?
It changed it a lot. When I was a child experiencing all of this, it's different. There are other things in the dark besides the ghost. Okay. And to learn that the hard way was very difficult. Okay. Especially something nobody believed you, that it was real. And I never, ever want anybody, I don't want to see that fear again or feel that fear, because it was so unknown that I don't want anybody ever to feel that. And
to feel alone, or to feel that they have no power over that.
Exactly. And they're like, I don't think it's a ghost. I think it's something else, but you don't know what it is. And it's really scaring you. And I wanted to make sure that, because when I became older, that's when I realized I wasn't alone.
Yes.
I was going to vouch when I turned 18, I was going to prove to everybody that these things in the dark were real, even the ghosts. Okay?
The boogeyman is real. Yes.
Exactly. And so that was what I was focused on. What it was shocking to find out that so many people were experiencing it, because it just wasn't talked about. This is before the internet. I was from a very small town, and so when you realize that people were talking about it, and over the years, you run into different things, and not all things are bad. Yeah, it's just people are scared. They're just scared. They don't know what it is, and my job there is to make sure everything's okay.
Yes.
And I do help ghosts move on, because ghosts are there. They're everywhere. So I feel like that I didn't understand why they were so lost. I didn't know. They don't talk to me. So there's no communication except through my recordings. And, and I realized that they were lost because they were men, women, and children. And I thought the least that I could do was help them. But I learned early on that there were just different types of ghosts.
Yeah. I talked in another show, and we're going to go into a totally different arena today, but I did a program not too long ago called The Inhabitants of the Astral and Mental Planes. And it's very interesting, some of the things that can occur, and there is a broad spectrum, everything from thought forms that animate a sort of an astral corpse to, some other things that it's just awkward for people to talk about. And I think there's maybe a lot of shame if somebody's having a haunting. They're thinking, what did I do to attract this? And often it's because they have a light, and because they're sensitive themselves, or that,
there's somebody in that house, that's attracting, and it's not their fault. They can go anywhere.
No.
And it's not.
And with the religious criticism of that, we get a lot of judgment, just even for doing the good light business of crossing souls over, or, it's a healing process to connect someone with their to resolve, to bring closure, to bring an understanding, and I'm sure that people feel. I know they feel overwhelmed sometimes when something dark is bothering them, and
do.
Most people, if you say, I'm being scratched at night, I'm waking up, I'm having pressure on my chest, I'm having, these kind of things, that people don't know what to answer. They're just like, oh, are you sure you're mentally stable? And there's so much shame attached to mental illness and so much misdiagnostics that occur for people that are sensitive to spirit. Yeah, it's a real.
And they're being influenced by it, and they just don't see it. And they know something's wrong, but because they don't know how to put it into words.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't know how to explain it, what's going on. And then sometimes, they say the key word you're looking for. And then I try to understand.
When you look at life, and, we all take that observant role, because you're a paranormal investigator and you've had so many experiences, what type of view do you have when you look into a room full of people, or you look out into life, or carry as a philosophy with you?
And it's funny because for me, and remember what I said, ghosts are everywhere, the spirits are everywhere. I see all of them and the people. To me, they're the same. Okay, they're all the same. It's just, and they really are. They're the same people they were before. It's just, most people can't see them or feel them. And when I see that, when I come into a room, I feel the energy. Okay, and everywhere I go, I do try to talk to them when I feel the presence. Ghost going, that light's right there. And I really do try to convince them, because I'm very down to earth, and when I talk to spirits and try to get them to go through the light. And
it's not like I'm calling in Saint Germain and the principalities of light and councils. It's just.
My thing is to get them to let it go. Most of them just need to let go, and some get lost, especially children. It just happens, and they just need a direction.
Yeah, they're trying to be good. Maybe their mom told them, wait here for me, and a murder happened in the house, and the child died. And then, thinks that if they that place, find mommy,
They'll stick with mommy, or they'll get lost, because I'll tell them, like, when accidents happen and the child dies and the mother survives and gets taken to the hospital, well, they have a tendency to follow mommy because it just happened and they're in spirit form. And the reason they get lost is mom goes back home and they don't know where they live.
Right.
Because they don't.
The perception from the spirit world, is not.
Yeah, so they can't even find mommy. So a lot of them are looking for their parents.
Yeah.
And they're just lost because they just got lost. But when somebody like you and me is acknowledging them and talking to them, they realize, oh, right, somebody is speaking to me and telling me what to do. Look for that light and go for that light. And then a lot of times they just need that encouragement. And that's it.
And there may be despair that they have over a circumstance, and also the frustration. I have a past life memory of being a ghost, and the frustration of where is my stuff, and people not even listening, not even paying attention. And I didn't realize that I had passed at that time. So it didn't make sense to me why people were just ignoring me. It really irritated me. And, I'm sure it's a great comfort, just like it is through the mediumship that I do for you when you're working with spirits to, wow, she can see me, and, and
it's helping me and telling me what to do because I didn't know, and it's just letting them know that there is nothing but forgiveness. You just have to forgive yourself. And that's what you're trying to tell them, that you might have done something that was bad, but you've already been forgiven for it. What you need to do is look at it and forgive yourself, and
that's
tell
a
yourself
huge
you will be a
task.
better person.
That's
It is, and
that's a huge task, because when we sometimes see the wreckage of choices that we've made intentionally, unintentionally, most of us don't feel very good about that kind of thing. And it is hard to forgive yourself.
Yeah, it's amazing what you did, like in the second grade. It's pushing somebody down. How that actually will come back to you. Yeah, it's really quite amazing what floods back to you when you're seeing your life. But then our job is to tell them it's going to be okay. That it really is.
That you did the best you could in that circumstance, and had you seen it from the perspective you have now, you wouldn't do it.
So I do those type of hauntings, and then I work with things that might not be actually a ghost. And so it just is a wide variety, because I can't ignore the ones that are asking for help. And ghosts ask for help all the time.
Yeah, and I want to point out that that's one of the things that we're going to talk about, is the spectrum of beings that you can encounter in that AKA ghost category. And you gave me a list of some of the ones. Let's start with shadow spirits. Tell us a little bit about them.
Okay. Well, they're the first ones I remember as a child. Okay, we're the shadow spirits. And that is just exactly what it is the shadow of a person. And it's solid black, but the edges are soft, just like a shadow. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes they have red eyes, sometimes green eyes, but they whisper bad things to you, like "I hate you," "Die," "Your mom doesn't love you." They just, and it's not just one; it's usually more than one.
Yeah, and usually that's because the person that they're kind of projecting their own rejection or their own pain, because they suffered. They're sort of projecting that out, right?
Yeah, they're not nice, and they always hide in the walls and in mirrors. Mirrors aren't traps to them; it's a reflection for them, like windows. Yeah. But when I was a kid, I hated my medicine cabinet in the bathroom with the mirror, because I had to open it up to get my toothpaste out, and the shadows were always in the mirror. And I was young, so I was afraid to open it up because I thought I was going to let the shadows out.
Yes. I've heard that mirrors can be. Yeah. I was going to say, I've heard mirrors can serve like a portal too. Any condensed area, like a bathroom or a hallway or a closet. Yeah.
And I didn't trust it. And, I do know they drain people of their energy. They like tricking people, like calling your name and sounding like your mother, but your mother's not there. They do that. When people are paralyzed and they're waking up and they feel that pressure, on them, or if they wake up with bruises or scratches that just appear overnight, those are usually signs that there are shadow spirits around. And I see them, and I have video evidence of them on my website, which is not easy to do. Okay, to get any shadow, a picture or video evidence is like, because it could be anything.
Yeah, it's really rare to be able to, get it recorded. The fact that you have it on record, recorded is just amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. All my years only got on video once. And, that's how hard it is. And they don't want to be helped. I've tried. Right. They have no interest in anything like that. So I have encountered them. The one weird thing, which I never quite understood, it seems like most of them run when they're seen. If you turn around and actually see them and they realize they've been seen, they run through the walls, and I never quite understood why they would run when you actually could see them head on.
Yeah, maybe they're like fear biters, like they feel really strong when you're not looking at them, but most of us have a degree of light within us, so when we look at them, our focus is on them, and dark and light don't resonate at the same frequency. Yeah. So there's, and if you think about it, like I know from my work that there are only 2 tools that a dark entity has to work with. That's it, from the dawn of time till the end of time. And that is fear and lust.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
Yes,
they got.
yes,
That's their whole
yeah.
toolkit. And of course,
Fear,
that
fear,
into
fear. Mm-hmm.
more stuff. Greed is sort of a
Mm-hmm.
part of lust, and anger is a part of fear.
But
But
yeah,
basically, fear and lust,
fear's number one.
and
Mm-hmm.
attention seeking, very like I call them attention whores, because they just want to take your focus and take your energy and ultimately take your will.
Yeah, exactly, like calling your name in your mom's voice. Stuff like that, to get you to look at them, and
just just for attention. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. Well, how would you differentiate them from mist spirits?
Okay, mist spirits always look like bright fog. Okay, it's a glowing fog. All right, and it is there 1 second and gone the next. Sometimes I've seen it move a little bit for a few seconds, but mist is, the paranormal community agrees that mist represents a spirit. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But,
yes. Like a spirit of somebody that has crossed over.
Exactly, and they never manifest themselves. They kind of may take a shape a little bit, but it's and like I said, I don't know why they're there. I've seen them be curious. But they would disappear so fast. I never could talk or try to, because it would just be there 1 second and gone the next, and I'd be like to take a picture of it, because it'd be right in front of me, and there it is, and I might get 2 pictures of it, and then it disappears so fast I can never communicate, but it's always curiosity from them.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because manifesting in a full human form takes a great deal of focus or something, and we're just dispersed energy, so that interface.
Yes, we are energy, exactly. And I don't know why that they don't seem to be lost. I never, like I said, it's just they're not here long enough to even do a 5-second recording. I just never any messages from mist spirits.
Yeah, just passing.
But they're always been good ones. Yeah, they're never bad. Yeah, so.
Yeah. You also listed Shadow Man with hats. Tell me.
Those are totally different. And Shadow Man with hats the shadow spirits are like this black misty form of a shadow. Okay.
Right.
The shadow men are solid. I mean, there's a difference you can tell just looking between them and a shadow person. They are a solid form. Their edges are sharp. The outline seen clearly, which is why people can describe them always wearing a hat, usually have a cloak on, and tall boots. Children see them the most. And this is what I discovered when I was investigating over the years, okay? That I had several of them tell me that they thought they were being protected because these kids are psychic and they were seeing, like me, ghosts all the time. So when the shadow men with the hats came around, the ghost would run away. Okay. Well, after doing a few investigations, I would see them there, and then I realized that they weren't after the people in the house. They weren't hunting them. They were after the ghost that was haunting the person. Okay. And I figured they were the real ghost hunters. And because I
kept getting the image of like Sherlock Holmes or something.
I mean, they are, yeah. And remember how we were talking about, and I'm just throwing this out there, everybody, okay, that there are other dimensions.
Oh, definitely.
And what if, our spirits are a great energy source? Do you understand?
Yes.
So these things are actually hunting the ghosts. So that's why they're attracted to kids who are psychic, because they're bait. And that was really wild to find that out. But they keep their distance from me. They don't get close to me, and they have never ever interfered with me if I was helping the spirit that they were after move on to the light.
Interesting.
They watch me, but they've never interfered with me ever helping a spirit cross over. And like I said, because I don't hammer them that often, it took me a few years to figure out that they were actually hunting the spirits. So I don't know what they want. I mean, I know they want the ghosts, but
the paranormal investigators of the other side?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really strange. And you can't help but come across this stuff. You're like, well, let me focus on this. And then you find out about these. And you've seen them, and I've seen them, but they always kept their distance from me. So I just figured they were there like a lot of ghosts that were just there watching me.
Yeah,
it didn't matter to me that he was, all black, because shadow people were black. Yeah, so
right.
It wasn't until, that I realized that, one place had one ghost, and then I realized it was actually everywhere the ghost went, he went. And then that's when it occurred to me that he was hunting the ghost. And I went, oh, and it made sense going back over my records over the years. I put these pieces together. Sometimes I have a piece of the puzzle, and maybe a few years later, I have more of the pieces of the puzzle put together because of all the investigations and research I've done. And those shadow men really, I don't know. I don't know, but I really believe that is the ghost that they are after.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think about, you talked about different dimensions. I was wondering about them being kind of like time travelers, like,
I do know for one thing that when I see things that seem to slip in, and I don't know if they do it by accident or see a slip and come in, that's what I call it. It's a slip of dimensions, kind of like earthquake fault line, one goes on top of the other. And that's how I looked at it as. And I've seen animals, and these are animals, but they're always in this completely solid black form. They're real sharp on the edges too, and they're different types. And it made me think, is that the only way I can see them? I can't see them in color because of the way they're coming in. And I wondered about that, why they always look like that. To me, they could, we're just seeing a partial of them because of our spectrum of being able to see
the
colors
vibration
the vibrations. Exactly. We're able to see like you said, the black and white, but I can't see in between. And what
it is
really
subtle
looks like.
energy, and a lot of people think that mediums, like, I think you're extremely clairvoyant because you see them as people in the room. For me, when I'm communicating with a spirit, it's more of an impression in my mind's eye, and I do look where they're standing, but it isn't like actually seeing a spirit. It's like I somehow know or see what they look like, but it's not with my eyes, or if it is, it's a different level of the eyes,
that inner eye, that can see this stuff, and I have no training in that area, so I am pretty low about it.
Oh, I think you're pretty darn good. We're at the bottom of the hour. You can hear the music coming in, and we're going to come back, and after station identification, get back into our fascinating discussion with Gaylen Chauncey. If you want to check her out during the break, her website is afterlifegoeson.com.
Now back to our show from a medium's perspective with host Reverend Tracey Lockwood.
Welcome back. I'm happy to have you on the show. And Gaylen, thank you for joining us. Before we if you missed the first half of the show, or you'd like to listen to any of the other episodes, you'll find them on my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and put in Medium Tracey Lockwood. And please subscribe while you're there. I appreciate it as you do. You'll have to hit the little bell that's beside the subscribe channel to be able to get notifications when new videos come up. They've changed their system on YouTube a little bit, so be sure you hit the bell, and you'll get notified every time a new episode gets posted. If you're interested in psychic or mediumship training at any level, or you were interested in a certification of your skills, I would be happy to work with you. My website is mediumtracylockwood.com, and you can find me there if you would like to. I'd love to have a chance to get to know you and meet you. Thanks so much. So, Gaylen, right before we departed, we were talking about the different entities that you encounter as a paranormal investigator. And we're talking about the fact that you don't shy away from the beings that are lower vibrational, not in terms of embracing them and wanting them part of your life, but just in terms of like not looking away or going into denial or just getting frightened by them and shaking it off and moving on, that you really take a observant look at the spectrum of beings on the other side that are involved in hauntings and possessions and different things. And we were going through a list of different types of beings, and I'd like to ask you to tell us something about ghost orbs. I know people do sometimes wonder about orbs. What do you have to say about that?
I know that a lot of people get them and they, say, hey, it's dust orbs and there's water droplets. The difference between the pictures I take is I tell them that it's something I'm seeing with my own eyes. It's in front of me. Okay.
Yes.
And so it's not something I'm taking a picture of and of a random picture going, hopefully I'll get some dust orbs or something and some light orbs. I said, so when I post my pictures, I let everybody know that a lot of people who take the pictures really do see it. Okay.
Oh, yes.
And they, it's not, something they're randomly taking a picture of. They really are seeing this orb that's moving around. Okay.
Yes.
I've seen it myself. I've seen them pop in and out, just pop in and pop out. And I've seen them move around people so fast that warp speed is the best description I can come up with.
Nice.
That
yes.
leave a trail of energy behind them like a jet. And when I take pictures of it, they're moving so fast I can't get the orb, but I can get the trail that's leaving behind of energy.
Nice.
And, so to me, ghost orbs have just, and them in themselves come in so many different types. Okay. Yes, I do believe they are paranormal. They are alive. Okay. So I've seen them follow people deliberately. I know they're interacting. Some of the paranormal community believe that they are spirits. Some believe that maybe it's a energy life form.
Uh-huh. I think it could be both, actually. I think it definitely both. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's the same with me because I've seen things I haven't gotten pictures of that I know was some type of energy life form. It wasn't a spirit. Believe by the way it looked, there was no way it was a spirit, but was it in a spectrum that most people can't see? Okay, and I've only gotten 1% of the pictures of stuff I've seen with my own eyes. So I've seen things that, like you described, that are definitely energy beings where most of the orbs that I encounter I believe, are spirits.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And like us, I tell people, you believe it was a spirit, you believe you took the picture, don't let anybody change your mind, and change that belief because you feel like it is true. And like a lot of these witnesses, they're just so happy to talk to me because they know I'm going to believe them.
Yes.
And that's a relief to them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know, the human spirit does travel in an orb shape at certain points of its transition to, and sometimes I know that even on some of the pictures, and I don't know if this is on your site or not, but sometimes you can actually see the face of that person in that orb. And sometimes they are caught unaware, like you might take a picture of someone and then there, these orbs that are beings around that person that weren't evident to the eye, maybe because people aren't tuned in as much.
Yeah, that's what it is. They can't see that spectrum.
Yes.
And to tell you the truth, it's really easy to kind of tell what a dust orb looks like and, water orb. And, there might be a percentage of them, pictures out there that are, but a lot of pictures I look at, they're definitely of a spirit orb.
Yeah,
So
I saw one. I saw a dancing red light in the trees, and it sort of reminded me of one of those remote control helicopters, but with a red light. And I was watching it, and I thought, what is that? And I was with someone. It's after one of my classes. It was another student that was with me, or a student that was with me, and we were watching it kind of dance around in the top of the treetop, and I took some pictures, and there's one picture that came out, but I don't think it was human. I think it was possibly alien, or, what we would call alien, like UFO type energy. I don't know. It was so small, though. I don't know. But at one picture turned out like this orb, and the rest of it just looked like a dancing light in the tree thing. See it turn into an orb. What do you think about that? What do you think it could have been?
I just like orbs, I think that if you could see some of these orbs, I mean, they look like the sun. Okay, so imagine the sun in your hand and the energy just exploding off of it, and just it amazes me to see them drip, onto the ground, and just energy is coming off of them. They have the power to change themselves to look anything they want. There's no doubt about that. Some of them I can tell the energy levels are not as strong. Yeah, and I can see that and feel it. And I'm going, okay, this one, so can they manifest themselves to look like something different? Oh, yeah, I believe that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of what we would call shape shifting in the spirit world, and it just depends on how they want to show yourself too. Speaking of people wondering what they're seeing, tell us a little bit about phantoms.
They're my favorite, okay, because they trick me every time. All right. They drive me nuts because, and to me, phantoms are ghosts that manifest themselves, okay? These are ghosts that are mistaken as normal people, all right, that you think is a real person standing there, talking to you. Best description is, the stories of the phantom hitchhikers. You hear drivers, seeing and stopping and talking to them, and they assume it's another person, and who later disappears or fades away before their eyes. That's phantoms. And they have tricked me because I thought they were real people. And as soon as I realized, I went, oh, no, you're a ghost or a spirit, however anybody likes to say it, they disappear. So there's no communication going on. But my favorite are like phantom homes, castles, like phantom ships, like the Flying Dutchman, phantom planes. Yeah. There was this 1 year after Pearl Harbor, okay, a plane was traveling from Japan and was heading toward land, so America sent an airplane out to intercept it. And they were surprised to see that it was a shot up on the side, all shot up, and its landing gear was missing, that the plane was actually an American flyer. It was a P-40. And they were the ones that were attacked at Pearl Harbor the year before and were destroyed, okay? So as they closed in on the plane, they spotted the pilot slumped over, with blood on his face and clothes. But when he spotted them, he smiled and waved, And so they watched in horror as this plane lost altitude and crashed. And they saw it with their own eyes, and there was nothing there.
Wow.
Nothing there. So, it's not just people who are phantoms that do that, the homes, castles, ships. It's really weird because it's all of them are on a repeat cycle. Okay, even the phantom hitchhiker wants the same ride over and over and over again.
Oh, they're
I believe
the ones
that they're real.
Yes, I call them stuck in a loop. They're in a loop.
There you go. Yeah, they're real spirits, but they're stuck. Phantom homes and castles and stuff like that. It's because I think it's the people that are in it, that are on it, that are causing, the whole thing to, to be a phantom home. It's the people inside of it, and they're all stuck in this loop, and they just can't seem to get out of it. And it's just a situation where I don't think I've ever come across in my research anybody actually trying to get a phantom to talk to them or try to help them to the other side. You look at it and go, well, unfortunately, I don't have time to do that. I'm working on my thing over here, helping all these other ghosts. I can't travel over to where these phantoms are famous, everybody sees them. But it is an interlude. I just don't understand how they can't break this loop. And I feel sorry for them.
Yeah. Excuse me. I put myself on silent. Just a
Poor
second.
thing. So, but they're interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder what it is. I mean, I know that experience, but how does it get stuck in their brain? Yeah,
Right.
so.
Well, tell us a little bit about residual energy.
Now that I've encountered more than once. Okay, what it is here is these are not real ghosts. It is a recording of an event in time that is played over and over again. No one in the paranormal community can agree on how these events are recorded, but they all agree that somehow the energy is recording an event that has happened. Most common recordings are found like in historical locations or battle places.
Yeah.
But one of the famous ones was the actress Sharon Tate, who was killed in her home in 1969. Her murder was recorded, and it stuck in rerun mode. Okay,
Oh, wow.
Her house was torn down, and a new house was built on it, on the land where her house once sat. And about once a week and everything, they hear her screams in the house every night.
Oh, wow.
And her screams and say, "Help me." And they actually gotten used to her screams and still live there today. So when it was investigated, realized that it was a recording, and I was real grateful it wasn't her ghost, because it'd be terrible to be stuck in a situation like that.
Oh,
But it
reliving
actually
it
was
over and
recorded.
over. Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly. Terrible situation like that. But that was so traumatic. It just got recorded in the atmosphere, and it wasn't the house that recorded it, it was the land, because the house got torn down, and the house was only built partially on the land. So it was the land that absorbed the energy and recorded it somehow.
Yeah, I think high emotion, because we're non-physical, most of our being is non-physical. When we have an area of high emotion, which definitely occurs near violence, but can also be good things, that energy gets embedded like an imprint. And that's why psychometry is such an interesting way to access information. And basically, you can psychometrize a house by walking through it too,
And the owners had no idea that their house was built on her land. They didn't know that her house once sat there. So they didn't have a clue about it. And it was a brand new home that was built, and he moved in, and he had it investigated because of all the screams, because it was very scary sounding, But, they realized that once they accepted that it was a recording, they loved the house so much, they just got used to it.
Wow. We're just racing toward the end of the show, and we've got 4 categories, I think, of things. Tell us about the talking dead.
Well, electronic voice phenomena. Okay. I don't know why they, the only thing I could gather is if they had talked to me directly, everybody would have to rely on my word that this is what the ghosts are saying, where I think they are meant to record their voices on my voice recorders. So I can show everybody, or go hear this. Okay. I don't know why, but ghosts love to leave me messages on voice recorders. I had one ghost tell me that God was with me when I was helping some ghosts go through the light. It makes me feel good to hear very positive things from these ghosts too.
They love you because you care about them. Yes.
I think that's what it is. I think it's their way to let me know that all of them are there, because I can't see all of them. And they're letting me know they're there. And if they say, help me, I will help them. It's just no question about that. And I don't hear it till after the fact. So it could be a couple of days later, and then I know I have to go back and help these ghosts along. My way is to also talk to them and let them know what I'm doing there for. To say I'm okay. I'll have them tell me to get away and go away and stuff like that the first time I go there. And then when I go there to do an investigation, when I get ready to leave, they're like, or when I get there, like, don't go anywhere. And so it's so funny that it's reverse.
Yes,
they tell me to go away, and then they tell me don't go away, And,
right.
Children are the worst, unfortunately. My husband doesn't know how I do it, how I can listen to it, because they have a tendency to lose full senses. and they'll ask me not to leave them behind, you know. And there are some ghosts that no matter what I do, I can't get them to move on. Okay, it's just I
they're
can't.
working something out. They're working something out.
Yeah, and some of them are children, and you know, the adults I get frustrated with because sometimes I wish I could go up there and knock them in the back of the head and you know, get some sense into them. Go on, please listen to me what I'm telling you here.
It's so much better, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I get so many. I do have a Talking Dead section on my website going, these are what the ghosts are saying to me. And you usually get very good, clear EVPs, and it's a way for me to learn on an investigation too. I might get a name. I'll know, you know, if I can't see the ghost, but I can feel it, I'll know more about its gender, what it says, its attitude. Is it happy? Is it mad? So it really helps me. I gather evidence to prove, but it really does help me with an investigation.
That's really cool. That's really cool. What about animals?
Oh, animals are, I tell you, it is a paranormal animal kingdom world out there. I've seen things that are animals, but I don't know what they are, but they're nice. Animals are strange because I had a hard time understanding animals got lost. You know, you just never thought about that. People was hard enough to understand, but I realized animals could get lost. And so I've seen ghost cats and dogs. Okay. I've seen a chicken once. I know that's hard to believe. I
know. I do.
It was very difficult to see, you know, because it was stuck in a terrible situation. But, you know, I realized that, you know, it wasn't just cats and dogs. And then in the animal kingdom, when you're doing investigation, sometimes people just say, you know, stuff's being moved. I see something out of my corner of my eye, but I don't know what it is. And I get there and I'm like, well, we're not dealing with a ghost because there's nothing here.
Right.
But I always investigate and, you know, and overnight and be in the active room. And one time I was in the bedroom and the door was closed and the closet was halfway opened. And behind the closet where the shadow was hitting it, it was pitch dark back there. And a pair of eyes opened up, white eyes. Okay, maybe a foot off the ground. I judged it. And I knew there was nothing in there. And they were pretty big white eyes. And it was looking at me, and I was looking at it. And I don't know if it got so relaxed because all of a sudden a second pair of eyes opened up. Okay, well, by then I was, you know, a little concerned because now I'm dealing with two things that I don't know what they are. Well, I went to stand up. And when I went to stand up, I startled them because they were already against the wall. And I could hear their feet sliding on the floor as they scooted back. And it was just like my dogs would, okay? And turn on light, and there's just nothing there. There was no place to go. They were already up against the wall, so I couldn't understand why I was hearing them scoot back when I knew there was no space back there. And so but they were curious. They were just looking at me like, and I think that's why the second one appeared, because the first one was so relaxed, and realized I was just looking at it like, it's just with a second pair of eyes that my heart kind of went up a little bit. But I knew that I was dealing with something that was alive, that it wasn't a spirit.
Yes.
And so I didn't know when I say I encounter animals, I knew it was an animal. It wasn't an intelligent being. So I've always wondered, I said, you know, do they see this slip and kind of jump over to look for a second because it's a different place? Or do they just kind of step, you know, walking through the woods and accidentally take a step forward and they're in this place and all they did was step back to get away? Right, I don't know. Right. But I felt it, you know, I had my hand all over the place looking for some trap door or something back there. And it was just solid as can be. So how they got in and out, I don't know.
Oh, that's
I have seen some stuff. Oh, yeah, my favorite one was in this kitchen of this house, and it was really haunted, and I see this black shape floating.
I'm so sorry. We are at the end of our show.
Oh, no.
For the people listening, the other two categories were elementals and Mount Shasta beings. We'll have to have you back. That's all there is to it.
Oh, definitely.
So
that's where I'm from, so you can imagine stories I've heard.
That's awesome. Well, many, many blessings, and thank you so much. Appreciate it. We will schedule a time for you to come back. And for those
definitely.
Oh, thank you. And for those of you listening, remember it's never inappropriate to be kind, and without integrity, we have nothing.
Thank you.